Welcome to the return of the Classic Game Room competitive review, where I review two game systems versus each other, starting with the Analogue NT Mini versus the Nintendo AV Famicom. Which game system is better at playing your library of Famicom games? This is an interesting competitive review because, for starters, it's not ridiculous. It's not like the Hyperscan versus the R-Zone, for example. That'll be a different video. Sometimes these competitive reviews can be really silly, like Vectrex versus anything. Obviously, the Vectrex wins. So the Vectrex wins even though it's not even in this battle. This is the AV Famicom from Nintendo versus the Analogue NT Mini, both of which play Nintendo Famicom games like these. There's a huge, awesome selection of Famicom games out there. Which game system is better? Well, clearly that one. But this one does cost like 5 times the price of the AV Famicom. And the AV Famicom is a great way to play Famicom games. So let's take a close-up, not ridiculous, not Vectrex dominating look at both of these game systems in the return of Classic Game Room competitive reviews. The AV Famicom looks like this. Kind of weird, actually. It's like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it a Famicom? Is it an NES? Like one button goes up and down, the other goes in and out. This thing is... It's like someone broke off a chunk of the Starship Enterprise from the Next Generation and just sort of molded it into this. This one will work with all of your basic existing Nintendo, Super Nintendo, or N64 GameCube cables, which is nice. Here's the underside. This is actual Nintendo hardware, the Family Computer, HVC 101. The Analogue NT Mini, on the other hand, is crafted from a solid block of dolomite. It's expensive. It's got 4-player right on the front of it. See-through bottom, which is really nice. Plays NES games in addition to Famicom games. And outputs HDMI directly from the game system, as well as RGB, component, S-Video, composite. It's a great looking game system and worth the price if you ask me. This is a good long-term investment for playing Nintendo NES and Famicom games. You can do firmware updates over here. A great choice. Now, some people would argue that this one is not as authentic as they would like it to be, but it works with all of your Nintendo accessories, controllers, and whatnot, and even the Famicom accessories, and it plays the actual games. This isn't the Retron 5. It's not doing anything weird with the games. It's playing the games and just outputting a wonderful audio and video signal. Here's the cable that you'll use with the Analogue NT Mini to output composite and S-Video. And here's my cables for the AV Famicom to output composite. From the controller standpoint, the NT Mini comes with the wireless 8-bit DO controllers, the 8-bit DO controllers, and this is the controller from the AV Famicom, the Dogbone NES controller with a super short cable, but it gets the job done. There's nothing wrong with it. Most importantly, they both work with my favorite Nintendo controller, which I use for most of my reviews. Cord is wrapped up. Just ignore that. Now, there's no shortage of incredible Famicom games and Famiclones to play them on out there. There's far cheaper options than either of those, really. But these are the best two that I've seen. Now, the Retron 5 is sort of in a different category altogether. If you want to play the actual games straight out of the game system without having to deal with any of the magic that the Retron does, also it's kind of kludgy at times, then I recommend both of these. But like I said, this one is not inexpensive because it says Nintendo on it, and it's made by Nintendo, and everything that says Nintendo is pretty expensive. This one is still 5 times the price of that. But you do get many more options. Is it worth it to you, well, that's a decision that you have to make. Check out Analogue's website for details. This one does exactly what you think it'll do. It just plays Famicom games, and it plays them well. Let's test these things on a CRT television with one of my favorite Famicom games, the wonderful Gun Neck. And I'll start off here with the Analogue NT Mini on my CRT. It really doesn't get much better than this on any given day. If you get to just hang out and play Gun Neck, you win. Period. Especially when it's on the Analogue NT Mini, which is really nice. So you'll see some shots in this video of me playing it on the Analogue NT, and of course, some shots of me playing it on the AV Famicom. They're both great game systems. So let's get started with a truly remarkable game, Gun Neck, which was sent to the show by my friend Mark in New York, by the way. Thank you, Mark. It's time to blow things up. They shoot carrots at me. Start this up. There we go. Let's really laser these stupid robot rabbits. I laugh at your puny carrot weapons. This game's a lot like Xanac, actually. It's been a little while since I played Gun Neck. Really, I guess so any game with knack at the end of it must be good. Oh god, unless that game is knack. Never mind. Disregard that. Now let's play Gun Neck on the AV Famicom. Hey look, fish! Still plays perfectly well. Let's go with this one. Let's go with the Hunter-Seeker killer weapon on this one. So it's not quite as bright and vibrant as the Analogue NT Mini. And also the Analogue NT Mini does SCART, or RGB, S-Video, and HDMI. But it still looks pretty good. Oh, now I'm being attacked by umbrellas and bubbles. Well, why wouldn't I be? It only makes sense that you would be attacked by umbrellas and bubbles. This is Japan, after all. Well, it's actually space, but never mind. I forget where I was going with that comment. It doesn't matter because it was stupid anyway. Oh, there's fish coming out of the water to say hello. Hello! I want the 3. You see that? That was actually some skill there. Alright, now I'm going AV Famicom into the FrameMeister, into a computer, into the TV. Obviously this is not as good as the Analogue NT Mini because I'm using composite video, but it's still sufficient. It's a great game and that's what counts. Works with the NES Advantage. That's right, we'll do that thing. Okay, sounds good. Whee! And pause. So, in conclusion, everyone, seeing my reflection, they're both great options. This one costs a lot more. This one has more features. This one does direct HDMI and has all kinds of built-in features I haven't even shown you in this video, but if you look at my full review of this, I cover that a bit more. This one is pretty bare bones, but it gets the job done. It's real Nintendo hardware. Costs a lot less. Works with the NES Advantage, and they're both really good. In all seriousness, you can't go wrong with either. Even the Retron 5 is a good choice to play Famicom, but when you do combine this with this, it actually costs more than that. Now that that's discontinued, but there's also far less expensive HDMI up converters. So go for the $30 HDMI, the generic one on eBay. You can use this with the generic HDMI up converter. That'll work, or get the Retron 5, or ideally go with that. So, the return of the Classic Game Room competitive reviews In conclusion, the Vectrex wins. Every time. Also, I like that. Thank you for watching a Classic Game Room competitive review. What's next? Perhaps Neo Geo CD versus Sega Genesis, Game Boy versus Game Gear, Vectrex versus the world. We'll see. Reminder, Jesus the Coked Up Chicken #2 is on Amazon right now. The speed of light's been broken by a chicken. See you next time on Classic Game Room.
Classic Game Room has been brought to you by How to Make a Video Game Review Show That Doesn't Suck, Ethel the Cyborg Ninja, and Jesus the Coked Up Chicken on Amazon.